everybody, and welcome to another edition of ZoeTV. So today we're really excited about our show because we have one of our favorite professionals on the show. We have Dan Hewson, who is the owner of Ascent Audiology. And we're going to talk a little bit to Dan about how he's maneuvered through this COVID-19, maybe some of the changes that they've made, and he talking a little bit about new technology for hearing aids and that type of thing.
Amazing stuff.
They're great partners of ours. We just love them. And then we also have our resident of inspiration, which is Tom and Kathy Szymanski. If you remember last week, the Youngkins actually nominated the Szymanskis for this week. So we're having a lovely conversation with them today. So stay tuned and sit back and enjoy.
We are so lucky for this week's resident of inspiration to be joined by Tom and Kathy Szymanski. You guys are matching. You look good. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're excited that you're here. Tell me how you felt when you found out that the Youngkins had nominated you.
Now, why did you do that?
They were very... See, you didn't get an interview.
I didn't.
You
I
were
was
off
not
that
feeling
day,
well
but
last week.
It was an amazing... I mean, we obviously all love the Youngkins,
Right.
but they had such great glowing things about you guys in your little area and how you guys do life together long before COVID and during COVID and what will be after COVID.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that idea of community is driven home by this little segment right here,
Absolutely.
because you guys are inspirations to them. At the end of the day, you guys are.
Well,
we love being there.
We still talk across the hallway.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
So do you all live in the courts or
We live in the crossings.
the crossing?
306 and they're 305 or 4,
Oh, that's nice.
something like that.
Yeah.
Right across from us. And then there's four apartments that all the doors are close together, and so like a lot of times we're waiting for our dinner delivery, and we'll all be out there having a conversation, and
That's so nice.
and we tell the server this is a welcoming crowd.
This is the welcoming committee.
that's how it should be.
Waiting for our
Right.
food.
That's how it's
Absolutely.
supposed to be. Yeah, you guys
Have you
are...
all been back to the dining rooms at all since they opened back up, or?
Only once with the Youngkins we went
Oh,
Okay.
good.
for dinner.
All right, so we're going to back up. How long have you guys lived here at Glencroft?
Since 2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah. Our furniture was here 2016. We had to leave and take care of some grandchildren,
Okay.
and so we left in October, but we brought some of the furniture over and put the house up for sale.
Okay.
And we got to Denver on Wednesday, and Saturday morning we got a call from the realtor, and our house was sold.
Wow.
Quick.
Oh my goodness. And
So-
were you coming from Nebraska at that time, or no?
No, we lived in Sun City.
Sun City.
Yeah, and so then my son and we came down and moved all the rest of the furniture over, and we didn't come back to live here until January 10th of
2017. Wow.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of choices coming out of Sun City. You could have gone a lot of places. What drew you to Glencroft then? What was
the health options.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
everything in most places they didn't have anything health-wise. It was basically here's your apartment, here's the dining room, some activity, but we felt with with all the facilities that you have here,
Yeah.
this was the best place for us.
That's great. And you're so big into volunteering, and that probably really enticed you, that opportunity.
Well, that's, yes. We're always involved in something. And Frank and Anita said, now be careful. People will ask you to volunteer, but take it slow.
Aw.
You didn't listen, because I know you're all over volunteering.
Well, and
everywhere.
they're great volunteers too.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
really
yeah.
are.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're
So-
good inspiration.
Yes, absolutely.
So Kathy, you're involved heavily in our Parkinson's immersion program.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit of what your process has been like going through that. Some of the things that we've been doing with you, and some of the stuff you.
Well, one of the things I noticed today was the speed in walking across the pool and then back. It's definite.
You're picking up.
Yes.
Yeah, I think getting access to ongoing where it's regimented. Every Wednesday we're in the water. Every Tuesday we're in speech. Very consistent has probably helped a little bit with that.
Right. And I think, as you say, keep doing it. That's the answer.
Yeah.
How long before you started into the Parkinson's program had you been diagnosed with Parkinson's?
Not more than 6 weeks.
Really?
It's just, right at the beginning.
Right.
So I'm very minimum medication.
But do you feel like you see a difference? Because you just said, to keep going,
Right.
you really
Oh,
need to
right.
keep going.
Right.
Because if you don't, then you notice a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're really enjoying the fact that the exercises are on Channel 4. Because
Yes.
we do that. And it's best in the morning for her, and it's more convenient.
Yeah.
And so we have to be into a routine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
And so we're very thankful for that. And then I'm thankful that you have the Parkinson's program, because then I have a whole hour for myself every day.
That's
of the
very
week.
true, and that's very important.
Yes,
but no, we do.
absolutely.
We get to kidnap her and spend a lot of time with her and do some fun
Right.
things. And I think as we've had fun together in doing all the different classes within the Parkinson's immersion, things has stood out for her. Like she
Yes.
really enjoyed the art class that we do.
Yes, definitely.
Have you been part of the dance class?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, yes, that's
She's great at the dance.
Is it?
And I kid her because she loves art.
Yeah.
She doesn't actively love doing the art.
Yeah. Oh.
So I always give her a time because the art team
I
had to
wondered.
pull back because of COVID for this
Right.
beta too.
Yeah.
And I said to I pulled her aside and I said, Kathy, I have really bad news. I said the art classes had to pull out just for a little while. And she goes, oh shoot.
no.
So but we're going to replace it with pool or our group class inside. She said, I guess that'll work. So it's fun to have
I
you.
was telling Steve week before last that I didn't realize, but my office is right above the university room.
Oh.
And I would hear, so all of a sudden I started hearing
Yeah.
the dance class, and they're going, up and down and, whatever they were doing. And I'm hearing it through the floor, and what on earth are they doing outside? I'm looking out the window and everything, and then I realized it's the Parkinson's
Yeah.
dance class,
Yep. And then when they get to speech class, it gets even louder.
Yes, that's
Scream it
exactly
out.
right.
You guys do great with that.
Yes.
I think they're finding more and more that dance is very helpful in a lot of
Absolutely.
exercise. And
Oh, I think so too. Absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
we love having you in the program. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Go ahead, Miller. Do what you
Okay, drum roll, please.
do.
Who are the two of you going to nominate for Resident of Inspiration for next week?
Jean and Connie Sorensen.
Jean and Connie Sorensen.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
All
it.
right.
Now, why them? What have they done to inspire you guys?
Well, to start with, when we were here a little before the Towers dining room opened.
Mm-hmm.
And when they finally opened, we went to dinner, and Connie actually walked over to our table and he says, I know you from someplace. And we started talking, and our paths met in the late 70s.
Oh my goodness.
My God.
And he has a memory that is unreal.
Oh, wow.
He knows so many people, and he inspires everybody he talks to. Before we closed down, I believe he had attended 3 men's clubs in the morning, early in the morning. And Jean and him are just a delight to have dinner with.
Oh, wonderful.
And their son is a minister. And when they hear about somebody is lonely or something, they're right over there visiting with them. And it seems like regardless what our conversation is about, when we leave, we feel comfortable, at ease, and like love in the spirit was with us.
Oh, that's
What
wonderful.
it's all about.
That
Well,
is.
that's a great testimony to these guys. I can't wait to get them on
So,
next week.
okay, we're going to be contacting you this week, and then we're going to have you on the show next week. So, be prepared. We're going to let you know and have you guys on next
Very
week
good.
for sure. And thank you so much,
Yeah,
both
you
of
guys
you, for
are
being on the
awesome.
show today. We
We
really
got some
appreciate
great
it.
stuff for
Yes.
you off camera,
We have
and
a
that way you can take them to
certificate.
lunch
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
hang out. So awesome. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lish Vasquez, Dining Services Director at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging, and today we're going to be making the lemon pepper haddock dinner. So what we're going to do is you already are going to have your pre-steamed Himalayan red rice and your pre-steamed broccoli as sides. And then the cooking process, we're going to show you how to cook the 4-ounce fillet of haddock, and you're going to have your lemon pepper seasoning, and you cut lemons for garnish. So you're going to want to season the fillet of fish, season it on both sides. Then you're going to rub it into the fish, and then you're going to make sure you're only touching the raw fish with your hand that has a glove, or one raw hand only, so you're not cross-contaminating. You're going to put it down in the pan, hot pan, presentation side down. Presentation side down means the side of the fish that you're going to present upside on your plate. Make sure you remove your glove without touching anything else, or make sure you wash your hands thoroughly if you've touched it with your raw hands, so you're not touching your spatula, touching your plate, touching your clothes, whatever. You don't want to cross-contaminate to get you sick. You have a non-stick pan, the fish won't stick. You want to make sure you're getting a good, nice sear crust on your presentation side. That is like going to be your pretty side. So that is the most important. You're going to let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. And we're going to flip it like that. Beautiful, got some nice color on there. The thing is, you don't want to flip it too soon because then you're not going to get that color. You got to be patient. Let it sit in the bottom of the pan. Now you're just going to finish the bottom side, which you don't care what the bottom side looks like. You're going to be all right. So as long as you're not burning it, just keep moving it slightly. All right. The fish is starting to flake, which means it's about done. Shut off my heat. Going to add it right on top of my rice like that. I'm going to garnish with my lemon wedges. That. And that is the lemon pepper haddock dinner. I'm Lish Vasquez, Dining Services Director at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging. And eating healthy can taste good. Happy cooking.
We are so excited today to have a really special guest with us. He's one of our favorite people. We have him on our campus. We're so fortunate. He is the owner of Ascent Audiology. Many of you know him, Dan Hewson. And he is the one that, and his team, they come on our campus in the clinics and they test your hearing and check your hearing aids and things like that. So Dan, welcome.
Thank you.
We're
Thank you
so
very much.
thrilled that you could do this today.
Yes.
I so appreciate you being on here. And I think everybody is, one of the first questions that anybody thinks about is, how have you all been doing through this COVID-19 time? And, how has it affected business and maybe some of the things that you're doing differently?
I think, one of the things when this falls, this all started happening, so many people have issues with their ability to hear with masks on.
Yes.
Not being able to see their lips, because we do a lot of hearing through the visual aspect of it, and not being able to hear.
Right.
They have a lot of struggles with that. But I think, honestly, one of the best parts of our practice has been the relationships that we've made with our fellow physicians that we have, referral-wise. People still need to be taken care of. They have balance issues, hearing issues, ringing in the ear issues, all of these
Absolutely.
factors that they need. So we've been very fortunate. Obviously, we suffered just like everybody did in terms of COVID. The amount of traffic flow we had was different. We learned how to do curbside servicing. People would come up and they would call us, and we would go out to their car, wear the mask, take the hearing aids, and take care of their issues that they've had. And so it's really learning to adapt to the new environments and the new normals, as they call it in our country right now. But,
Absolutely.
but we've been
But
very
you all
fortunate.
were an essential business,
Yes.
where you were essential workers, because that's what I kept thinking about, was that's such a vital part of who we are. And I agree that talking behind masks has to be very difficult for some people.
They're coming out with the shields, and they're coming out with people with clear masks and so forth. But, I think it's just, giving patients that ability, that comfort of knowing that, we weren't going anywhere. There's a lot of places that did close. They
Absolutely.
were definitely afraid of the COVID aspect of it.
Right.
And I just, the way we looked at our business was, we're there to take care of them, and they still need to be taken care of. And, doing all the PPEs and the mask and the, the hand washing and then the gloves and everything we've had to do. I mean, that just, I wore hearing aids since I was 4 years of age, and I know what happens if I couldn't hear, and I have a 75-80% loss of hearing, and you got to be there for them. And that's, I think, at the end of the day, is just an awareness of when you have that problem and you experience it, you're going to be there for those people to take care of them.
So going through COVID like we all have, and every department we've talked to on campus or any other facility outside has new norms that you guys are going through, like you mentioned. And I always like to ask this question, what best practices that you've implemented through COVID are you going to, you think, apply if we get through it? What have you learned? Like, man, that was a really good thing we did. What kind of things are you doing now you see in the future you keep applying?
I think one of the biggest things is that some of the softwares of the manufacturers that we work with hearing aid wise, we can actually do programming in their hearing aids without them even having to come into the office. So there's like more of remote programming in the cloud. A lot of the cell phones that we have now, if it's new enough, we can actually program their hearing aids without them even having to come to the office.
Super.
Isn't that
So
amazing?
it's really amazing.
Oh,
So
you talked about that a little bit when we had you. We had him on Successful Aging several times, and this last time you were talking about the new technology that's coming out. So really exciting.
So you guys are all in on that. I mean, you've been doing it. Was this something that you did prior to COVID and you started, or did this kickstart it?
It really kickstarted because the manufacturers really didn't have the live assist element. They had a remote, which meant we could program it and send it to them to their app on their phone. But then what they did is they kickstarted it. Now, if they had an iPhone, we could do a live remote. So it was like FaceTiming them, and we could adjust our hearing aids at the same time.
So
Isn't that amazing?
So it was like, and that's been really helpful, especially with people in Vermont and all over the country, and even outside of the country, where we've been able to reprogram their hearing aids. So that's been a big factor in helping us to have a totally different communication with them. But I think it just also allowed us to make sure that the if they can't come in, they could bring their hearing aids, and the curbside aspect of it was a big factor for us too.
Now, do you have patients that are coming back into the clinic now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you're just using the same
yes.
precautions that we're all using.
Yes, yep.
So,
and,
yeah.
I think it's been really good. I think we've because of what our specialty is, we take a half an hour to an hour with each patient. So, we have a couple of our providers in there at the same time. We'll stagger them. So it's not like they're sitting in the waiting room.
Right.
As soon as they get in, they're going into a room, wiping down the rooms and the chairs and everything
They're
like
not
that.
on top of each other.
Right.
Yeah.
I worked in ear, nose, and throat where you have 20, 30 people in the waiting room. You can't do that right now.
Right.
No.
So it's just important to be very cognizant of taking care of those people and, just being very well aware of that the proper precautions are being taken care of for them.
That's cool.
Very
That's
important.
great.
So how long have you been coming to Glencrop and serving our residents?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because it was about, I think we did a health fair in February of 2016 when I met Kay Baker. And
Oh my gosh, I remember that so well.
Yep.
I do.
And my wife was very involved in that, and we just said we'd love to be a part of your organization. And at that time, Kay said, no, we're good. And we were like, oh, my wife was insistent. And this and that happened, and she had a spot open, and we came in, and there was one thing led to another, a lot of things that occurred, but it's just been a great relationship. I mean, since the beginning, Glencroft and Kay and Millie and everybody, John, everybody we've associated yourself, just the standard. We were just talking about that with some of the fellow residents here, just talking about how amazing this place is. Quite honestly, the work that you guys do, the consistency of the staff that you had, and it's a really big thing when you want to feel safe, and especially in this time when people are scared and they can't hear, or they don't feel comfortable. It's amazing that they're confident in you guys, what you guys been able to do to take care of them.
Thank you. That's very, very nice to say.
Yeah.
We try very, very hard. This is a large campus, and there are a lot of residents, and we just are trying to do the very best that we can and offer them as much as we can, as Steve has been talking about, through Zoe Life and a purpose-driven life.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
You guys are really one of the leaders, from the standpoint of what you do. And I just have to applaud the work that you do, because, from the physical therapy end of it, this is not many. I go to a lot of different mobile places, and you don't see this. And I'm appreciative of that, being an audiologist.
Right.
The focus is the balance part of what you guys do. You are changing people's lives every day, and that's such an important factor. What we do, seeing patients and being able to collaborate that element together and working hand in hand is awesome.
Well, that leads right to the next question. Is we always like to ask our service providers, that do go to other facilities. I think it's important for our residents to hear that perspective, because this is where they live, and this is where they've been so long. They don't. Is the grass greener? I think we do good stuff here, but they don't know. And I think perspective like that's super important.
Yeah, I do too.
It's not greener. I can promise you the grass is not greener, but yeah.
That's very cool.
We've had Dan on the radio show Successful Aging several times, because we love having him bring us up to date on new technology and different things like that. But one other thing that Dan does for us that is so important here on campus is he teaches in our university. And so coming up this fall, I think we have you scheduled for several classes that you're going to be teaching this fall. And you just hang on every word. When we have you on the radio, it's like we could just keep going and going and going, because there's just so much to know and learn and look forward to, especially with regard to technology. I want it to just keep getting better and better, because by the time I get to that point, I want to have the zippiest hearing aids that there are. So
I think it's important. Is just I was talking with some people out there, and she has Parkinson's, and she was not aware of that. The correlation between the hearing and the memory was there, and they're really focusing on sending her to a neurologist prior to ever getting the hearing tested. And there is very important to be aware of that aspect of it, that the balance and the hearing and the memory are all tied together. And it just, that aspect, what you said about the education, that's what I love about what you guys do, is just the focus on the education, the awareness for the residents, giving them a better quality of life. And that's why I wanted to be a part of with the group, and grateful that we have the relationship we have with Glencroft, because of what you guys do and all the aspects of taking care of people.
Right. It is one of the best partnerships we have, Dan. We
Well,
thank you very, very, very much.
One last thing I would just say is because balance is so important to us in our fall prevention strategies, I hear a lot of times how much they enjoy working with your team because they didn't realize how impactful so much in the ear is on that balance.
Yes.
And a lot of them, they know they're working on it, but they say, you know, I've really been working for so long, I still feel off. And then I got my hearing done and I wasn't right and I feel
know.
better. And all this work has paid off now because I've got both aligned together.
That team approach, I think the balance across the board with what you guys are doing, with what we try to do to help
Right.
people and all the services that they have is a bonus that they never knew they were going to have.
And so how are residents seeing you now? What's
So
the best way they get a hold of you?
So they can call our office, obviously, 602-863-4203. And then we come here every Wednesday down here in the center from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. So we're here every Wednesday. So we're
Very
happy to
cool.
help whoever needs help, especially if they're having issues with the hearing, balance, memory, ringing in the ears, any of that stuff. We're there to help serve
Awesome.
you.
Very
And I'm still going to get my mother to you if it's the last thing that I do, talking about balance.
Yep.
So, yeah,
I know.
think that would make such a huge difference.
Yep.
Dan, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much
Very
for
much.
joining
Thank
us
you, guys.
today. We really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you for what
it.
you do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're great.
Thanks, guys.
What a show!
I know. He says that every time.
I said it by myself, and I went, still what a show, because it was.
It was so
a great
good.
show.
Yeah, we had a great time today. It's always wonderful talking to Dan. You know, we loved having him. We love having him on our radio
You're
show
lucky.
too.
You get to talk to him quite a bit.
We do, yeah. And he's going to be teaching some classes
in the
as he
fall.
shared in the university this fall for us. He is a wealth of education knowledge with regards to audiology and the newest technology
That's right.
in hearing
Yeah.
aids.
And he's so open with our residents
is,
about,
yeah.
all you have to do is call. They're more than happy to walk you through
Right.
so many scenarios that could be in play.
Absolutely.
If you're struggling with your balance or if you have the ringing in
Right.
the ears, and there's so many things that they can do, like you said, technology-wise, that even I wasn't aware of.
I know.
But it's super cool to hear him coming out of COVID. That really kick-started us on things that we wanted to try to do,
Right.
but it forced our hand, and now we would never go back. Like,
Well,
this is
and
great.
as everybody knows, our ears and our eyes are so
Yeah.
essential.
Yep.
And so, he said we kept going right through this COVID. We did a lot of curbside service and that type of thing. And he's just
He's
great.
amazing.
We
and
love
I think
partnering with
we're
them.
going to be doing even more collaborating
Yes.
with his team with this Parkinson's program. And
Yes.
the Parkinson's program, as you heard from the Shemanskys,
Right.
it is evolving quickly.
That's right.
And this thing is snowballing us, and
Yes.
residents are moving in because of it. And Dan, we were talking off cameras, he's so excited about being a part of that
Right.
and helping to assess and try to figure out, okay, what's an underlying cause? Could be the ears
Yeah.
within the Parkinson's.
Oh, and the balance issue.
I love it. I'm so excited with this team.
When you're having balance issues, the last thing you're thinking is that it's your hearing,
Yeah.
but it actually can be
That's
too. Getting your hearing balance can have a lot to do with your balance in general. So
Absolutely.
he is fantastic. And I highly recommend, if you haven't visited Dan and his team down here, get the contact information and definitely make an appointment, because
That's well worth your
It
while.
is worth your
and he's
while.
very consistent. Wednesdays,
Yes,
he's here.
they're
And
always
here.
here.
For 5 hours.
5 hours.
That's a
I know.
long
I
time.
was surprised
That's
at
a
that.
long time.
So,
I see him walk in, but they're so
Right.
busy. They shut that door, and I was like, still here, but 5
yeah,
hours.
they're in the clinics down here on
Yeah.
Wednesdays. Please take advantage of that. And then, of course, we talked to Tom and Kathy Shemansky,
Love 'em.
and they are great.
All of a sudden, we're on this couple train.
Yes, I
The
know,
power
which I
couples are
love.
going-
Yeah,
I do too. I love it.
I do love that. I love that we're able to, get the couples in and some of our singles, and
But I think it's cool that the Shemanskys' perspective is they haven't lived here that long.
No, and the other thing that I was so amazed at, I was a little hesitant to ask, but so Kathy had only had a diagnosis of Parkinson's 6 weeks before she started into the
and it
Parkinson's
might be a little
program.
bit longer,
Oh,
but it wasn't a Mike
No.
Bowes where it's 10 years.
no,
But
yeah,
it's one of those things that I think, Parkinson's is so misunderstood.
That's right.
And it's, do I have dementia? Do I have
Right.
this? What is this? And I think in a Kathy's space is everybody's so different on the spectrum.
Right.
And that's why we encourage our residents in not to label anybody with Parkinson's,
Oh,
but
no.
if it's I have a little tremors, I'm having trouble with coordination, you know, come down and get that assessment done.
Absolutely,
Because it
yes.
all just preemptively strikes so much.
Well, and she even said, you know, I find that if I have to keep going because then I feel better.
Yeah.
And I loved that because
do
it's
too.
really true with everything that we're involved in, you know, especially with all 6 of the pillars. You got to keep going, you know, you got to keep adding
right.
to everything that you're doing each day.
That's
so.
it. Well, great show again.
It was. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.